Testing, testing, 1, 2, testing, testing, 1, 2. Okay, and here we go. It's official. It's official. Today is the worst day of the stock market since March 19th, 2020. It hurts. It hurts. As investors, we got the short end of the stick today. But take out the emotions. Emotions make you cry sometimes, and our emotions are telling us to get out the market. Believe you, mine are too. My wife, Mario, get out the market. But we're going to talk about what to do, why this is different this time, and how we can actually profit. Yes, I said profit from the foolishness of the market having its worst day down over 5%. This doesn't happen. This has happened literally 9 times in the 100 plus years of the stock market. Once every 10 years, I guess. But we're going to talk about what to do to capitalize from this craziness. Well, we know why it happened. We all know why. It's been signaled for a long time, but the banks, the rich, the elite, the wealthy, they manipulated the stock market again. See, Trump has been talking about tariffs for 3 or 4 months. Well, really since the campaign. And he did it in 2017 and it didn't work and he stopped it immediately. So everybody thought that because he pump faked other times about tariffs, he stopped them, started them, stopped them, started them, that he would come to his senses, seeing how the market has reacted negatively each time he made that threat. But he didn't do that. He said, go for the gusto. And yesterday was National Liberation Day and our accounts got liquidated. Not like somebody took money out, but it went down over 5%. So what is a tariff, right? We talk about what tariffs are, theoretically speaking, but the real definition, a tariff is a tax. A tax. T-A-X. A tariff is a tax on imported, if I could talk, on imported goods by the government. So the government is putting a tax on companies. Most companies do more than 50% of their manufacturing over places, and it comes here. So that means we're taxing corporations. And when we tax corporations, the price of things go up, and guess who pays for that? So when people say it's a short-term fix to a long-term problem, it doesn't work. It takes short-term to medium-term to long-term. It doesn't work. Here's why. Here's a breakdown. When a product is bought from another country, the importing country, right, the ones that's importing, bringing it in, they put a tariff or a tax on that product, usually a percent of the value. So let's say it's a car, and that car is $50,000, and you do a tariff for 10%. That's $5,000. Well, Ford, they're shipping thousands of cars on a day-to-day basis. It's going to be thousands upon hundreds of thousands upon millions of dollars. And guess who eats that burden? Us, the U.S. consumer. It gets worse. By the U.S. putting a 20% tax or tariff on those goods and services, it means everything is more expensive. We build a house, 20% tariff still goes up. Lumber goes up. Anything you can think of that's coming here from the U.S., it is going to go up. So how is that competition? It's not competition. It is the opposite of competition. It actually puts the us as the U.S. in a chokehold. Now, the theory is that other countries are doing it. It's called the VAT tax, V-A-T. Anybody who has flown international, as you come back in the airport, VAT tax free, right? Value action tax free. You don't pay taxes on it, theoretically speaking. Well, the U.S. Treasury said that about 3% of our GDP is affected by foreign tax, VAT tax. So we're going to tariff somebody 20% or $20 would only affects us $3. What sense does that make? What sense does that make? It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. And then we have counter tariffs. And the counter tariffs is something that is even more mind-boggling because it actually gives foreign countries the ability to charge us more. How does that work? It's called a retaliatory tariff. And that's a counter tariff being placed on us as Americans because not we, but the administration put tariffs on other countries. So now we pay double the tax. It's basically their way of saying, you charge us a tax, we're going to charge you back a tax. And we saw this happen in 2018. Even though a tariff happened like in the 1800s that did not work then, but in 2018, we saw it work with our farmers and also with steel. You see, the president in 2018 put tariffs on cars, soybeans, and whiskey. When he did that, guess what happened? Chinese and other countries did retaliatory tariffs, and it hurt our farmers so much that us as Americans had to bail out the farmers. You guys might not remember this in 2019 before COVID, but we literally had to bail us as the taxpayers. We had to pay farmers money to continue to have their crops because it costs so much money just to plant crops because of tariffs and counter tariffs. So with our farming industry, when that happened, don't you think history repeats itself? Don't you think it would have been a smart thing to say, I'm not going to tax the Americans? I'm not going to put a strain on everybody when the economy is slowing down. We're not in a recession, but the economy is slowing down. Wouldn't you think we would do something? Of course you would. That something is more tariffs. What? What universe are we living in, you guys? What universe are we living in? It's called a trade war. And the worst thing any country wants to do is do a trade war. We want free trade. We want peaceful trade. We want to be kumbaya, hold hands. You guys get a piece, we get a piece. We're always stronger together. When we're apart, we're divided. It hurts exporters. It increases prices for both sides. And it impacts the stock market. Now, the rich, the wealthy, the elite, they knew this. And Trump was signaling publicly, privately, and really privately that he was not going to do this, right? Talked about it. People said, yeah, Liberation Day, but it's not going to be really what he says. So why is it? As soon as the announcement is made, instantly the market went down by 3.5%. Why? Because things that we cannot have any control of, the rich, the wealthy, the elite, the banks that are trading billions of dollars per second, they knew it was going to happen. So they couldn't sell beforehand because that's insider trading. That's how Martha Stewart got locked up, by insider trading. But they knew. It wasn't just a game. You just don't move billions of dollars in a millisecond. Well, you can, but you got to have things in order first as a big institution to do that. They knew this was going to happen. Even though 2 days before the market was up and it looked like we bounced off our low and we was getting back to the market being up like it was in February. But they knew it. Jamie Dimon talks all the time about stuff. He didn't signal that to us. Other CEOs of banks, Larry Fink, BlackRock, the biggest money manager in the world. He's on CNBC. He's on TV all the time. He didn't talk about this. But when the market goes down, guess what happens? Hold it for the long term. You're right. You do hold it for the long term. But what they're doing is what we should be doing. They are not making decisions off of fear, off of irrational, off of having something that's $100,000 now is worth $90,000 and you sell it for $90,000 at a loss. No, they're buying. And since they got all the money in the world, theoretically speaking, when they buy, it's going to drive up the market. When they buy, their portfolios look a lot better. When we buy, we wait, see what's going to happen. Wait a few more months when the tariff talk goes away and something else goes on. And we missed out on the opportunity of the market tanking like it is today. Now, it feels bad. I feel good. No, I feel bad. I know everybody right now today feels bad. Very bad. The fear and greed index right now is at 8. It has not been this low since COVID. So it is a horrible feeling right now for every single investor. This is when we do what the rich, the wealthy, and the elite do. When everybody's panicking, when everybody is scared, when everybody is fearful what's going to happen, that's when you buy. Everybody who got fearful, sold their house or lost their house in 2008, that seems like a lifetime ago, almost 20 years ago. Their house is worth 6, 7, 8 times as much as it is. People that got out the market in 2009, I know. That was my second year. Second year in the business. Second year as a financial advisor in 2009. Man, crazy times. Went down. Same stocks then that was worth $15, $20 is now worth $300, $400. 15x. That means if I had $100,000, I got 15 million, right? Facebook. Those types of stocks, the tech stocks that are down crazy right now. So what do? Do we complain? Yes, we should complain. And we should be very upset with this administration and very upset with the rich, the wealthy, and the elite that knew it was going to happen and did not get out in front of the TV and told us it was going to happen. But when everything else goes their way, they shout from the rooftops what's going on. Very upset with the rich, the wealthy, and elite, especially the banks, the bankers, the investment analysts who easily could have said, you know what, this is going to happen, get out, be prepared. Well, you don't want to get out because no one knows when it's going to go back up. And when it goes back up, instantaneous it happens. So you miss out. So we have to stay in. But just to understand and not do a panic sale and not do the worst thing you could do right now, selling something that's at a very, 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 very low price, I wish they would have came out and told us. Would it have changed the market going down? No. Would it have changed us feeling bad? Maybe, maybe not. But the more information that you have, the more you can take things in. So tariffs, they're outdated like I talked about. Why? Because they raise prices for consumers. See, in the 1800s, when tariffs was the way to tax people, we weren't in a global economy. Now we are. Also, they do not guarantee U.S. job growth. Tariffs actually do the opposite because companies now have to pay more money for things. Their consumers are buying less. They have a smaller profit margin. When they have a smaller profit margin, what does that mean? They have to cut costs. And unfortunately, cut costs means layoffs. If these tariffs continue, it's going to be more layoffs. Is that good or bad for the economy? Also, the global supply chain is way different than what it was in the 1800s. We're not chasing people with bayonets, right? It ain't a battle on the sea anymore where we have cannons. That was the 80s. It ain't even war no more. It's all about what's in the sky with drones fighting now, right? I don't know if we're ever going to be in a physical war anymore. I was in the Army. I hope not. All my veterans out there, hoorah. But because of modern day science and robotics, war is fought through cybersecurity and drones. This ain't the 1800s, and this ain't no time for no tariffs. They spark retaliation. You think everybody else is happy with tariffs or mad. That's why they have the retaliatory tariffs. Does not make any sense. And it is a political move, not an economical move. A dumb political move because it is no political cachet right now in administration. This is making them look horrible politically. But because how the administration is, how the president is, how he's able to some way, somehow move his way out of situations, he thinks it's okay. And probably the people that will be voting, well, you can't vote them out the office, but the voters, they might say something different. I don't know. And I don't care because it's not about politics. It's about our country. And our country got through the same mess in 2020. You see, on March 16th of 2020, the market went down by 6.2%. And why? Because of COVID. Government shutdown. I know it seems like a lifetime ago. It was literally 5 years ago that happened, y'all. 5 years ago, the market went down. To make things worse, it also went down June by another 5%. So March 6%, June 5%, that's 11% in 2 days. Whew, not good. But you know what? Why we don't sell everything, why we don't panic sell, why we keep things as is, because over time the market goes back up, why we buy things like today when everybody is scared to death about what's going to happen with the market, is because 4 months after March the 16th, 2020, the market was up by 32%. Meaning $100,000 in March went to $93,000. Oh, that hurts. And then in June, went from, theoretically speaking, $93,000 to $88,000. Oh, that hurts. But come July 2020, we made 32%. So that $88,000, oh, huh? Really? Is now at $122,000. So you telling me those 2 horrible days and 4 months later, I started with $100,000 and I ended with $122,000. That is a 22% gain when it's all said and done. I don't know about you, but we will all feel different if we're up by 22% from where we were yesterday. I don't know about you, but if we buy investments at a low price, we're going to have more money 6 months from now. We're going to have more money a year from now. So why do we panic sell? Do not do it. What you need to do is use some, not all, but use some of the money that we have on the sidelines and invest. Because literally we can say, this is a once in a 12-year time to buy something low. This is a 1 out of every 5-year opportunity to buy something when it's down by 5%. Happened 5 years ago. What are you going to do? Do not sell. Do not panic sell. Do not do it. Eventually, the market's going to go back up. We just don't know when. And that's how people make money in investing. See, this is like a fixed annuity. It's floating, right? See, a fixed annuity, it doesn't go down when the market goes down, but you don't get all the gains. Market goes up by 10%, you get 5. From January to December, the market made 10,000, you made 5 in an index annuity. When things go down, that's when people make money. That's when things get reinvested. That's why people make money over time. We want the market to go down, not like this, but we want the market to be down to take advantage of these opportunities. Also, 18, when Trump had the tariffs the first time and we had to bail out the farmers, the market went down by 3%, then 2%, then a month later by 4%. Literally in 3 months, the market went down by 11%. 4 months later, the market recovered by 21%. I went from 100,000, went down to 89, and 4 months later, I was at 110. In 4 months, a person made 10%. On average, it takes the stock market 10% a year, and you made it in 4 months because that collapsed. Meaning, when the market goes down like this, because the banks, we cannot control, the investment firms, they manipulate the market. They know it's going down. They put money to the side. Once it goes down, they buy. Tonight, which is less right now because the market's down like it is. But I bet any money, those institutions are buying all those index funds at a lower price. All those stocks that were great stocks 2 days ago, like NVIDIA, like Apple, like Microsoft, like Google, like Netflix, like Amazon, the Mag 7. They're buying them right now. Now, we won't know about it until 6 months because they don't got to disclose their buys for up to 6 months. So come August, when the smoke has cleared and he's came to his senses, hopefully, and things are a lot better and the market's back up. And they said, yeah, we bought millions of dollars worth of Amazon and Apple. You're like, oh, let me buy it now. It's too late. It's back up. You missed out. You should buy it when not it's at $100, when it's worth $80. So when it goes back up to 100, we make our money back. In closing, this is different than what it was during COVID when the market went down by 5.5%. Yes, global pandemic. Things were a lot scarier in 2020 than it is today. Economically, socially, financially, administrative-wise, things were very, very bad in 2020 5 years ago. I had mask on talking to y'all right now 5 years ago. I would be on a Zoom call with a mask on. What? But life happens, and we found a way. Never would have made it. I'm not closing the doors of this webinar like Marvin Sapp did to that church. Conversation for another day. But I say this to say, today, it's different than what it was 5 years ago. But the principles of the stock market stays the same. If you don't need all your money within the next year, don't sell. If you don't need all your money in the next 2 or 3 years, use some money that you have on the sidelines today. Buy index funds. This is a once in a 12-year opportunity to buy things at a very low price. This is a once in a 5-year opportunity to take advantage of craziness in the market. The question is, you're going to do it or you're not? I know one thing. If you don't, a year from now, it'll be some regret. Everybody, 2020, looks back and says, man, if only I would have invested during COVID. We're going to look back 5 years from now and be like, man, if only I invested when Trump was office rocker even more. Are you going to do it? Love is love. Y'all be blessed. Stay prayed up. Pray for our country, y'all, and our president and the administration, because he needs some prayer. We all need some prayer. In the words of MC Hammer, that's why we pray.